Fox News Alert now, learning a bit more about what we can expect to hear from the president. That news conference begins top of the hour. Senior administration official telling Fox News that the feds will send $11 billion to the states. That money coming from the CARES Act. It will help ramp up testing to a, quote, dramatic scale. So more from the president on that momentarily. Stay tuned. We'll take you live there when it begins. The president might also weigh in on another major story in D.C. Top Democrats and Republicans now in a battle over the Justice Department's decision to drop its case against General Michael Flynn. Andy McCarthy, Fox News contributor, former assistant U.S. attorney. Andy, how you doing? I've been watching you all weekend, and thanks for being here today. Basic stuff here.
My pleasure.
Was President Obama, is there evidence to suggest that President Obama was in on this investigation during the transition? Or is that a theory that has now been floated out there, or can you now prove it?
Bill, this should never have been a theory. This should have been an assumption. This was a counterintelligence investigation. Unlike criminal investigations, counterintelligence is done for the president, to support the president's constitutional mission to protect the United States from foreign threats. So if they actually authentically thought that there was a conspiracy between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign, it would be profoundly crazy if Obama was not in on it. So the issue isn't whether he was in on it. The issue is whether under the guise of authentic counterintelligence, they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing, namely political spying.
Okay, so here is from some of the papers that were made public last week. This is an Oval Office meeting during the transition, January 5th, 2017. After the briefing, Obama dismissed the group but asked Yates and Comey to stay behind. Obama started by saying that he had learned the information about Flynn and his conversation with Kislyak, the Russian. It was not clear to Yates, Sally Yates, then AG, from where the president first received the information. She was so surprised by the information she was hearing that she was having a hard time processing it and listening to the conversation at the same time. There's a suggestion that she was cut out of the loop. What do you think of that suggestion?
Bill, I think that's
what was happening in that conversation then?
All right, two different things. I think it's factually wrong to say that Yates was kept out of the loop. There's a lot to criticize the FBI for here, but I don't think this is part of it. Andrew McCabe, who was the deputy FBI director, informed Mary McCord, who was the Justice Department's head of national security, 2 days before the Oval Office meeting. And McCord was going to brief Yates, but she wasn't going to do it till the afternoon of the 5th. And it turned out Yates had this meeting with Obama and company on the morning of the 5th. So I think it was just happenstance that she wasn't informed. It wasn't that Comey was holding out on her.
Okay.
Secondly, I think what
right.
was...
Continue. Go.
I think the reason they had this meeting, we can gauge from Susan Rice's email as she was walking out the door on Inauguration Day, was to justify, or at least make a paper record, of keeping information about Russia from the incoming Trump team. The only way that makes sense is if the plan was to continue the investigation into the Trump administration. And the only way that you could pull that off would be if they didn't know everything that was going on. So I think that's what it was about. Okay,
so you write this here, why dismiss the Flynn case? Because the FBI can't prove it. That's at thehill.com. All right, so what does Judge Sullivan do now?
Well, I think he dismisses the case. No judge should want to try to enter a judgment over the Justice Department's objection to the detriment of a defendant. But certainly no judge under circumstances where it doesn't look like the government has a case that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt would want to have a judgment of guilt entered against the defendant under those circumstances. And from the Justice Department standpoint, if they believe, and I think they have profound reason to believe this, that they don't have a case that they could prove in court, it's their ethical obligation to dismiss the case.
We'll see if he makes that action. Thank you, Andy McCarthy. We'll talk again. There's a lot in here, and we'll get to a lot more next time around. Thank you, Andy. Nice to see you today.
Thanks, Bill.